All right, so tomorrow, or I guess later today, the actual NHL Stanley Cup Playoffs 2020 start. So that means it's time to fill out this bracket. Now, I've already done predictions in a few different places, and every version of the predictions I make are slightly different. I just sort of go with how I feel, and if each version is tweaked slightly, then I've got a better chance of claiming that I was right the whole time. Now, we're going to start in the East, and we're going to work our way over to the West, and then we're going to, yeah, sort of figure it out. I think I'm not going to get too many arguments when I say that I think Philadelphia is going to beat Montreal, and I think where do I say the number? Oh, yeah, is that the end? I say the number of games. I guess I was going to say I think Price steals one, but the Flyers. Well, I didn't watch the round robin games, but I'm told the Flyers look great in the round robin games, and they look great at the end of the season. And I mean, sure, I guess they're going to carry that momentum. And okay, they're playing the Habs. I mean, I understand the Habs beat the Penguins, but come on. I think Tampa. I mean, I guess it depends because I know they have some injuries, but I think this time they're gonna. I mean, they're gonna take Columbus seriously, obviously this time, and I think they're gonna beat them. I think it's gonna take 6 or 7 games, but I think they do beat Columbus. Okay, so that goes down there. Right. Okay. Anyways, um, I this one I'm not sure about because I think the Capitals are the better team, but the Islanders are just so annoying to play against, and like with the yeah. But I don't know. I don't know. I think probably it definitely I think goes 6 or 7, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure who's gonna win it. I've done two versions of this bracket previously, and I said Washington for one of them and the Islanders for the other one. I think I'm gonna say Washington this time, just because gut feeling. I think Washington is just a better hockey team overall. So I'm gonna go with the Capitals. Um, this one, I think, at least for me, I think this is the hardest one because Boston's looked like shit, and Carolina looked fantastic in their series against the Rangers. They just crushed them. So I don't know. Like Boston obviously has way more playoff experience and all that stuff, and I think on paper they're probably a marginally better hockey team. But again, I never know how much weight to assign to these round robin games because we don't assign that much weight to like the games at the end of the season, and round robin games they're not really proper playoff games. But Boston looked like shit in those games, so I think this one is really tough to call. It wouldn't surprise me if Boston just completely craps out, um, but I think it's going to go to 7, and I'm gonna say the Hurricanes win it this time. Um, okay. I'm gonna come back to that. So over to the West, I think Vegas wins over Chicago because I think Vegas is a better hockey team than Chicago. Chicago, I mean, Crawford is I guess still good apparently. And the offense of Chicago looked good in the series against the Oilers, but the defense is just horrendous. And Vegas is it just overall a more balanced hockey team, and I think just a better hockey team. Um, yeah, so I think Vegas wins that series, and we'll come back to the number of games later. Colorado we'll come back to in a second, but I think Colorado is going to go very far in the playoffs, and I think they're going to beat the Arizona Coyotes. Although I was saying this before, I think Arizona has a better chance against Colorado than Chicago would for sure. Because if these matchups were reversed and it was Vegas against Arizona, I think that would be a close series, and I think Colorado would just run over Chicago because yeah I think Arizona is a much more competent team defensively, and is just a much more solid team overall. I think Colorado still beats Arizona because I think Colorado is very good and going to go far in the playoffs. But I do think Arizona puts up a fight. This series is difficult for me to call, and I've been putting Dallas before, but I'm going to say Calgary now, just because I don't know. I think that series goes 7, and these things are very difficult to predict. So I've just sort of been picking randomly between these teams. Dallas's offense has been kind of anemic, and they haven't been playing good hockey in a long time. And Calgary, I mean, they looked very convincing against the Jets, but the problem is, well, the Jets were missing not only Shifley and Laine, but also Brian Little, who they've been missing for pretty much the entire season. After he took a puck to the face, and so I mean, like when you're playing like Eakin and Lowry on the first line, that team has got some problems. So I think it's sort of a mirage. The Flames, the way they looked against the Jets, but at this particular moment in time, I'm not sure I believe in Dallas. They hold up pretty well defensively and in net, but the offense has just been anemic. So okay, I'm gonna put Calgary this time. Although in other places I've made predictions, I've also said Dallas is gonna win. I think that one goes 7, and I think it's a toss up. Because I think both of those teams, I don't think either of them is going to go far in the playoffs, but I think they're both decent enough and at sort of roughly the same. They're very different teams, but I think they're at roughly the same sort of caliber that they give each other a good fight, unless one of them decides to just roll over and die, in which case, um, I don't know. Anyways, I think St. Louis beats Vancouver. I don't think it's Vancouver's time yet, and I think St. Louis is going to beat them. So let's go back over to the East. Um, See, I was putting Boston to beat Carolina before, and now I've got I this is a matchup that I haven't had to think about prior to this exact moment in time, and that's an incredibly difficult one to call because both of those teams I think are good, and both those teams look great so far. That's a really hard one for me to call, and so is this one actually. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna put Carolina, and I'm gonna put Tampa Bay, and we'll get to Tampa Bay later. But yeah, I think Tampa's gonna win. Um, there's only so much I can like say to explain what I think will happen. It's just at some point it just becomes a gut feeling. Um, Vegas, Colorado, again, gut feeling, all this stuff. And I think Colorado. I think Tampa and Colorado go to the finals, and I think Tampa wins. I mean, yeah, it's just. I mean, this is all sort of predicated. It's just a gut feeling. Again, like you can pick Washington from before, like for the entire decade. You can pick Washington every year until eventually they win the cup, and they did. And I mean, it's not exactly inevitable, but you kind of get the sense that it's going to happen at some stage. And Colorado, I just think is good. To be honest, like I think there's a lot of decent teams in the West. Like of course, Colorado, Vegas, St. Louis, Vancouver's decent, Calgary's decent, Dallas is decent, Arizona's decent, Chicago. I mean, you can say whatever you want about Chicago. Um, but the only teams I think I really believe in to go deep in the playoffs. I mean, I've got Vegas going to the conference finals, but I mean, the only teams I really believe in the West to make a long cup run, like to the finals, are Colorado and St. Louis. Vegas, I think, is up there, but I find it really, I don't know, just that the first round series against San Jose. I don't know. I don't believe in Vegas. I'm not going to explain it any further. Um, yeah, I think it's between Colorado and St. Louis in the West, in my opinion, which is going to be wrong. And I think this time Colorado is going to go through because I think Colorado's a good hockey club. Okay, so this is the finals matchup ahead all the time, and I've been putting Lightning to win the cup in all my brackets. Again, this is predicated on injury situations and all that sort of thing, but it feels like it's Tampa's year. Whatever. We're not going to discuss that much. I've been putting 30 just because if I think the series is going to go 6 games and roughly 5 goals per game, 5 times 6, 30, whatever. We're not going to dwell on that too much. And now we're going to decide on the number of games. So I don't remember what I put previous time, so I'm just going to sort of go with my gut here. Chicago wins 1, but I think Vegas is a much better team. They get that in 5. Again, I said here Price steals 1, but Philadelphia wins in 5. Arizona puts up a fight, but they lose in 6. Tampa and Columbus have got a lot of stuff going on. Tampa wins in 6. This one I said was going 7, so I think I don't know how to call between these two teams. So I said that one's going 7. This one I'm gonna say 6. I don't know. Yeah, Do I want? No, I'm gonna leave it at 6. Although I can definitely see that going 7. St. Louis over Vancouver in. Do I want to say 5 or 6? Because I do think St. Louis is. I don't think Vancouver is yet on the same tier. I don't want to say 5 though. I'm going to say 6, and this one I'm saying 7. And I didn't have to predict the number of games for the other series. Okay, cool. Um, I'm not going to submit this because I already submitted a previous version, but these are my YouTube predictions. There you go.